the country has been grieved with the incident of death of a soldier in this country, which of course all of us as a nation, we expressed our interest in the matter. We supported the family, and then we also demonstrated our patriotism in terms of the role of the security agencies in this country. And one major issue that came up, which is also important to us, is that the activity took place, or the event took place in a community. And once it's a community, it involves children and also affects issues on child protection. There again, it is a family issue, so it has to do with the family and how best in the process the interests of children will be protected, right from the family of the captain as well as from the society or where the event took place. So as organization, we took interest in the child protection issues in the community as well as in the family of the deceased. And our investigation pointed out to 4 major child protection issues that we observed in the process, which of course we think that we will share with you, and then going forward as a nation, we will take the appropriate steps to deal with some of these issues, especially where it involves children. One major issue that we also detected in the process has to do with the exposure of children in the media. There was excessive exposure of children of the late captain, who was also be given the title of the Major by the President, which of course we deem it as infringement on the right and the dignity of the children, because clearly when the event or where the attack took place, people ran to social media and has exposed the pictures of his children and the entire family, which we believe that it has more or less sentenced them to a perpetual remembrance of what took place in the country on the 29th to 30th of May 2017. Sharing images of the incident as well as images of the children may give opportunity to some moral persons to keep the footage and try to share with children in the later time of their lives. So exposing these children in relation to the incident may affect their social interaction, access to their rights in the future, and we think that it is against the principle of welfare as enshrined in the Children's Act under the welfare principle. So for instance, when you look at the Children's Act under the welfare principle, section 2.2, it clearly states that individuals, institutions, and even the court must take the appropriate steps to protect the best interests of children in matters that concerns them. So it is a major responsibility on us as a nation to always protect the best interests of children in any situation. Even if it is an unfortunate event, we still have to protect the interest of children. And we believe that this single act that all of us were involved in would have repercussion on the life and the development of these children. So as a nation, we need to take the appropriate step to deal with that. Then again, calling on the appropriate institutions to do what they can to block any further publication of these children in the media. We also observe that children became witness of the whole incident in the community. Our investigation reveals that some children in the Denkyira Obuasi witnessed the lynching of the soldier at the full glare of the community, and the community did not show any interest whatsoever to even stop when children were even present. Secondly, our investigation that we conducted showed that children and women were camped when the military decided to visit the community, which for us would also remember, children would always remember that event. And unfortunately, we are not in a chaotic society for us to even get to that level. But unfortunately, we got to a level where children and women must be camped so that the men will be dealt with in the community. Another issue that came up is the issue of children have to go through difficult times to prepare for their basic education certificate exams. And we think that the whole thing happened when children were preparing for their exams in the community. So because of that, some children has to run out of the community to find a nearby community to learn and prepare for the exams. Which we believe that this also affected the emotional and the psychological well-being of children. And there is a need that as a state, we take the appropriate step to address the needs of these children through a rehabilitation program where necessary. We also realized that, or in our investigation, we realized that children also became perpetrators of the act. And this is crucial for us because for a child to be bold enough to participate in such an act shows that if you are not careful, we'll be breeding a society where even children will begin to behave in a manner that will not be in the best interest of the nation. And our attention has also been drawn to the fact that a 12-year boy was also alleged to be part of the lynching. And we know that that boy has also been arrested. However, in our criminal justice system, a child is responsible at the age of 12 for a criminal conduct. And within the justice system, it's required that the trial of such a person should be within the juvenile justice system, but not the adult system. So if you are a child and you are below the age of 18 years, the law provides that when you commit criminal act, then your trial should be within the juvenile justice system. And the determination of it, either you'll be committed to a junior correctional center or a senior correctional center, will be dependent on the offense that you have committed. But irrespective of the offense that any child commits, the law provides that you'll be tried within the juvenile justice system. And the maximum sentence that can be given in respect to any crime committed by a child is 3 years. So our investigation points to the fact that we took interest in this to also find out the whereabouts of this child, whether we can find the child within the juvenile justice system or not. But our investigation points to the fact that, or we cannot locate the child juvenile justice system. And we cannot also locate the child within the community. So it suggests that the child is nowhere to be found so far as we are concerned. And our interest is that the state, irrespective of the offense, we must try as much as possible to put a law to test. Where it demands a certain process, that process must be followed. And we think that the system must be responsible enough to try this particular child within the juvenile justice system. And where the child is being tried within the juvenile justice system, the law also provides that we should accord the child with all the necessary rights that the child deserves, even within the juvenile justice system. The right to respect the child, the right to provide services for the child, and then the right to respect the dignity of that child. And one thing that we are so much interested in has to do with the fact that if the child is guilty of the offense, the law expects that rehabilitation programs and integration programs will be designed for that child. We are interested in that because for a child to commit such an act, for us, is very serious. So rehabilitation program must be ongoing to ensure that we protect the interests of that child. Another issue that we detected in the process also points to the fact that children became victims as a result of that. As a result of the incident, parents fled the community, leaving their children behind, unattended to. And some left it in the hands of their guardians and friends, and some also must seek refuge for their children. It is important to note that such situations make children more vulnerable and expose them to all forms of abuse where there's no monitoring. So for us to abandon our children means that we are abandoning our responsibility to monitor them, to have a right to education, healthcare, shelter, and even protection. What is required in such circumstances for us is that the district assembly must provide services to ensure that the care and protection of children are guaranteed, even in such situations. So we think that irrespective of whatever happens, the state must be interested in protecting children in the process. And I'm laying emphasis on this, whether children are victims of the circumstance or they are perpetrators of the circumstance. And when we say victims, we are talking about children who were in the community through no fault of theirs, suffered as a result of this. And then also the children of the family, through no fault of theirs, have to witness or go through some kind of difficulties because a society decided to take the law into their own hands. At this point, we also want to put on record that we appreciate the intervention provided by the state in respect to the services that they want to provide for the family of the deceased. For the president to establish a fund for the family, we think that it is something that we need to appreciate. And we'd want to salute the state for taking this step to seek for the protection and the continuous education of the children of the deceased. We also want to thank the president for making a personal commitment of 50,000 Ghana cedis to support the fund. We also want to appreciate the former president, John Dramani Mahama for also dedicating time or making a commitment that he is going to support the family in a way that he can, and other persons that have also made a commitment to that effect. It shows that the state is responding to the needs of children in time of difficulties, and we hope that we'll be able to sustain the promise that we've made to the family to ensure that the children do have a better life in future. And as organization, we have visited the family, but as our protocol demands, things that we do in such times, we do not make it public because it is child protection issue, and that we want it to be as it is. So for us, this incident should be a wake-up call for us as a citizen to desist from mob injustice and to ensure that the privacy and the well-being of children is a primary consideration in any situation. Because we know that a cultured society would breed children who are also cultured, and that will lead to the advancement of a positive cause that will increase our interaction that will be in the greater interest of society. So on this note, we say thanks very much for coming.